Welcome to CognitionChunks. This is Chiaroscuro, where physics meets Plato's cave. Exploring types of shadows in physics and philosophy. Shadows, far from being mere absences of light, take on a life of their own in both physics and philosophy. In physics, shadows become a dynamic field of study relating to optics, wave interference, and even quantum mechanics. In philosophy, the metaphor of the shadow has been employed across various traditions to contemplate issues like reality, perception, and existential concerns. This article explores the concept of shadows as they manifest in these diverse intellectual realms. Types of shadows in physics: umbra, penumbra, and antumbra. Definition: umbra is the area where an object completely blocks light, penumbra is the region where only a portion of light is obstructed, and antumbra is the region extending from the umbra where the object appears entirely contained within the light source. Applications: eclipses, astronomy, and general optics. Diffraction shadows. Definition: occur when light waves encounter an obstacle and spread out, causing a pattern of interference. Applications: important in understanding wave behaviors in various settings including acoustics and quantum mechanics. Polarized shadows. Definition: shadows formed by polarized light, which affects how the shadow interacts with different surfaces. Applications: photography, astronomy, and materials science. Virtual shadows. Definition: shadows created in digital or virtual environments. Applications: computer graphics, augmented reality, and simulation technologies. Types of shadows in philosophy. Plato's allegorical shadows. Definition: in Plato's allegory of the cave, shadows on the wall represent the false reality perceived by unenlightened minds. Applications: a foundational metaphor in Western philosophy, discussed in epistemology and metaphysics. Jung's shadow self. Definition: in Jungian psychology, the shadow represents the unconscious, darker aspects of oneself. Applications: psychoanalysis, self-help, and character development. Nietzsche's shadow of God. Definition: in Nietzsche's philosophy, the shadow of God refers to the enduring impact of religious values even as belief in God diminishes. Applications: explored in existentialism, ethics, and philosophy of religion. Eastern philosophical shadows. Definition: in various Eastern philosophies, shadows serve as metaphors for impermanence, duality, and the nature of existence. Applications: discussed in Buddhist, Taoist, and Hindu philosophies, often in relation to notions of self and reality. Interdisciplinary considerations. Metaphor and reality. The conceptual overlap between physical and philosophical shadows highlights how metaphorical language can shape and enrich scientific understanding. Shadows in art and literature. The metaphorical and literal aspects of shadows have been extensively explored in visual arts, literature, and other creative fields. Conclusion: shadows, whether understood as physical phenomena or philosophical constructs, are complex and multifaceted. By examining the different types of shadows in these varied contexts, we gain a richer understanding of both the natural world and the intellectual landscapes that interpret it. Alternative perspectives. Subjective experience of shadows. From a phenomenological perspective, the experience of shadows can be a deeply subjective event, conditioned by cultural and psychological factors that go beyond the scientific and philosophical categorizations. Shadows as ethical and moral constructs. The concept of shadow could be extended into ethical and philosophical discussions about dark sides of societal structures, like systemic inequality or moral ambiguity, which are not easily visible but have substantial impacts. Exploring the different dimensions of shadows, be they physical or philosophical, not only enriches our understanding of the world but also reveals the complex interplay between how we perceive reality and how reality is constituted. The term chiaroscuro is a quintessential concept in the realms of art, aesthetics, and visual perception that has also permeated discussions in philosophy and cultural studies. Originating from the Italian words chiaro, clear, bright, and oscuro, dark, obscure, this term describes the dramatic interplay between light and shadow to create a sense of depth and volume in two-dimensional representations. While its implications are vast, ranging from the aesthetic to the symbolic, here's a deep dive into several key aspects. Historical context. Chiaroscuro can be traced back to the Renaissance period, where masters like Leonardo da Vinci, Caravaggio, and Rembrandt used this technique to create a realistic, three-dimensional appearance in their paintings. The technique evolved over time, giving birth to various art movements and styles, like tenebrism, where extreme contrasts of light and dark are used for high dramatic effect. Technical aspects in art. From a technical standpoint, chiaroscuro is executed by applying gradients of light and shadow on the contours of objects, faces, or scenery. The brightest and darkest parts are carefully calculated to depict the way light falls upon or recedes from the surfaces. Artists often use high-key lighting and low-key lighting to create the desired effects. High-key lighting minimizes shadows and displays more brightness, while low-key lighting creates striking contrasts, often highlighting only specific areas. Philosophical and symbolic interpretations. Beyond its artistic application, chiaroscuro has also been interpreted symbolically and philosophically. For instance, Plato's allegory of the cave, a foundational text in Western philosophy, explores the notion of reality and illusion through the metaphor of people watching shadows cast on a cave wall. Here, the light that casts shadows can be considered a form of chiaroscuro, symbolizing the dual nature of reality and perception. Chiaroscuro in photography and film. Chiaroscuro is not limited to painting, it has made its way into photography and film as well. Cinematographers often use this technique to imbue scenes with emotional depth or to create a specific ambience. Classic noir films, for example, make extensive use of low-key lighting for dramatic tension. Digital applications. In digital art and computer graphics, chiaroscuro plays a crucial role in rendering realistic objects and environments. Algorithms that simulate light sources and shadow casting are fundamental in achieving a realistic representation. These techniques are used extensively in video games, virtual simulations, and even architectural modeling. Psychological and emotional dimensions. Art therapists and psychologists also study the emotional effects of chiaroscuro on human perception. The contrast between light and dark can evoke emotional responses, such as hope, despair, or intrigue, which can be a powerful tool in both art therapy and visual storytelling. In summary, chiaroscuro is a multifaceted concept that transcends the boundary between the visual and the intellectual, linking disparate fields like art, philosophy, psychology, and technology. It serves not only as a technical device for rendering realistic images but also as a metaphorical lens through which to explore complex ideas about reality, emotion, and human perception. Was this accurate? Did GPT just make up a bunch of stuff that does not exist or does not make sense? Find out in a follow-up. So there you have it, folks. We've taken a deep dive into the captivating world of Chiaroscuro, navigating its labyrinthine corridors from the brush strokes of Renaissance masters to the allegorical depths of Plato's cave. Whether we're talking about the physics of light and shadow, or the philosophical undertones of human perception, the story of Chiaroscuro is a narrative where science and philosophy meet, often in the most unexpected ways. We explored the physics of shadows, penumbra, umbra, and antumbra, and how they offer more than just a scientific explanation. They challenge us to look closer and ponder on the ambiguity of our perceptions. When we dovetail this with Plato's cave, we understand that light and shadow aren't just physical phenomena, they are allegorical tools, timeless symbols of knowledge and ignorance, reality and illusion. Isn't it fascinating how a simple concept can wear so many hats? It's a technique, a psychological trigger, a symbolic element, and much more. No matter which lens you look through, scientific, philosophical, or even technological, Chiaroscuro offers a complex tableau that forces us to question, to wonder, and to understand the different facets of our existence. If you're still in the dark about any aspects of today's discussion, don't worry. Drop your questions in the comments below, and we'll bring them to light in our next episode. Remember, whether you're a philosopher musing in your armchair or a physicist calculating angles of refraction, the world of Chiaroscuro has a shadowy corner just for you. So stay curious and keep exploring those cognition chunks. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want to illuminate your life with more such engaging and insightful content. Hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next deep dive. Until then, keep your minds lit and your shadows intriguing.